never really left London, so I mean, I was used to growing up in South London, seeing beef on the streets. Now I'm seeing beef in the fields. Do you know what I mean? I was used to seeing like rabbits on your plate. Now I'm seeing rabbits on my way to lectures. Like, what is this kind of thing? So there's a big culture shock like that. But eventually, it was probably the best move that ever happened to me.
What are you listening to?
The Get to Know podcast.
You're listening to the Get to Know
Podcast.
What's happening, guys? It's the Get to Know podcast, and I am joined by Kayode Damali. How you doing, Kayode?
I'm good, Liam. How are you?
Yeah, really well, thank you, mate. I'm really excited for this. So, mate, huge thanks for coming on to the show. It's honestly a privilege for me.
Pleasure. Happy to come.
Yeah, mate, it's crazy. Like, you're someone that I watched on TV, and now here we are having a conversation. So, yeah, man.
One of them ones,
yeah, mate. When I first saw you on The Apprentice, the first clip, I'll get into this properly a bit later, but I was like, yeah, I want this guy to win. Like, honestly, straight away, man. So, big ups.
Thank you.
All right, so lockdown, an end is potentially in sight, but have you found it? Because I know you're big into your fitness, so what's it been with, gyms and that sort of thing?
Well, touching on the fitness aspect to begin with, I mean, obviously gyms, the last time I went to the gym, other than when the lockdown happened, I think it was March, I'm thinking, damn, and when am I going to go gym again? Like, we couldn't foresee when one has a session, but then for me, I was always trying to see what can I get from this. So even though I couldn't go to the gym, I got really much into my calisthenics. And
okay.
So, the first time I really did an exercise, I don't know if you're aware of an exercise called a muscle up. And for anyone listening or watching, it's basically a pull up, but you pull yourself over the bar and then you kind of do a tricep dip at the top of it. And the first time I was able to do one of them was in Tobago. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. Contrary to popular belief, a lot of people say, Kayode, you're Nigerian. No, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. Just get that out there. So the first time I was able to do a muscle up was actually in Tobago in 2018. And I haven't been able to do one since. And because of lockdown in March, I was like, right, can't go and train in the gym. So let me just train in the park, like on the play area in the park. Sorry kids, but it's time for me to train now. And then and I was able to do another muscle up. So that was the first time I did a muscle up in 2 years, and that's because of the gym shut. And then fast forward now into 2021, I'm able to do like the flag. I can even flag now, which is crazy. I remember watching people flag when I was like 15, like a teenager, thinking, damn, how did they do it? But because of since lockdown, just training, because I can't train in the gym, just been doing calisthenics, and been able to do some exercises now.
Yeah, I saw that video of you doing the flag. I was like, rah, okay. I rated it still.
And that was in the snow as well, so.
Yeah. All right, man. So, to kick things off, we're going to get into the quick fire round. So I'm just going to ask you a series of questions, and you just give me your preferred option. All right?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So, firstly, English or maths?
Maths.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
Films or TV series?
Films.
Xbox or PlayStation?
I don't have either, at PlayStation. I grew up on both, but PlayStation. Oh, it's quick, sorry, PlayStation.
Yeah, no, mate, take as long as you don't. Alright, so, next one. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
Kanye West or Jay-Z?
Jay-Z.
Biggie or Tupac?
Tupac.
Spider-Man or Batman?
Batman. Go Batman.
Instagram or Twitter?
Twitter.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
And finally, what is your favourite holiday destination?
Oh, it depends. I've been to a lot of places. Is this another quick one? Oh, sorry, I'm not being.
Nah, no. This is like I'm going to as much detail as you want to hear. I'm intrigued.
I'm the type of guy. I never like to go to the same place twice, innit? So even if I have got a favourite place, I'm unlikely to go there again because there's 198, 200 countries, give or take, around the world. I don't want to. There's more to see. Do you know what I mean? But if I had to pick, and it depends. Because when you're on holiday, it depends who you're with. that makes or breaks it.
Yeah.
I can have holiday to Cornwall. No disrespect to anyone from Cornwall, but if I'm with the right people, I'm having a better time than if I went to Miami, which I've also been to Miami. I will go Miami then. I'll just say Miami, because Miami, I had a sick time in Miami.
Nice. How many countries have you been to?
I don't know numbers wise, but I feel like most places where people say they've been, I've been, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
apart from, I haven't really done the Asias, so I think my next destination, I want to go to the Asias, like the Southeast Asia area. I know a lot of people like in their teens, 20s, that to do the, backpacking around Southeast Asia. And I'd fancy going to Bali but I've done most of the westernized, if you want to call it, places, if you want to call it that.
Nice. All right. So, Kayode, can you talk to me about kind of growing up and the path to you becoming a professional speaker?
Yeah, sure. Feel free to interject at any point. But I grew up in Catford in southeast London. That's where I grew up. And then, to cut a long story short, if you want to ask me anything specific, I eventually went to university in Manchester Met. And the reason why I had to go to university that far away is because I failed college. So I went to college originally in southeast London, grew up in southeast London, but due to, being not the best student at college due to a certain aspect of life I was heading down, which I'm not on anymore, I didn't do well at college, and the only university that accepted me was Manchester Met. So it's either go 200 miles up north or to stay with the man them, quote unquote, in southeast London. Chose to go away. And so I kind of just recreated myself. No one knew me. I didn't know anyone else. I could be who I wanted to be at the end of the day. And ever since I was in school, I always had this natural tact for speaking, and it was even more amplified when I did go to university. Like hosting shows and being that guy and talking in lectures. Every presentation did at uni, I probably got like 90 plus. Even till now, I probably still hold the record for having the highest presentation marks at MMU. Do you know what I mean? So then as soon as when I finished my time at university, I became elected vice president and governor of the university. So I was still around. I was like a bad smell. Do you know what I mean? I graduated, but I'm still there, vice president, governor. And I was also elected a director for the National Union of Students, being the NUS. And again, these are very much speaking roles, especially when you're vice president, you're very much speaking roles. And then when I finished my terms in office, there's still a natural demand on me. People wanted me to speak. And around that time, I was doing BBC stuff as well. I remember, I think my first time doing the BBC, being live on the BBC, I should say, was like 2000. So even way before The Apprentice, we're talking like 2015. And just naturally, me just wanting to do things publicly speaking, just naturally people just ask me, oh, can you come speak here? Can you come speak there? So it's quite an organic process, really, from being in southeast London towards where most people saw me on The Apprentice.
So where were you intending to go to uni?
So initially, what it is, I applied for all like South. I never really left London. Do you know what I mean? Whereabouts you? Where are you from? Birmingham.
Wolverhampton.
Oh, Wolverhampton. Oh, shouts out to other Wolves people still. Shouts out to Wolves still. I like my people in Wolves.
Jeez.
But I initially only wanted to go to unis in around London. I never really. No disrespect to anyone else in the UK, I just thought like the world revolved around London, and not even just in London. I just thought it was South, like Southeast. I just thought that we were just where everything happened. So I only applied for unis like your Brunels, which is what North London. I applied for some down south, like the Portsmouth and the Bournemouth. I thought I'd stay down south. South was where it is for me. And unfortunately, I didn't get the UCAS points. I had to go through clearing, and the only place that accepted me through clearing was MMU.
So how did you feel about going so far away?
At first, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at the time because just before going to university, my girlfriend at the time broke up with me. And I know what it's like when you're 18. You just think I don't want to sound cheesy, but the love of your life at the time, or the person who you really like, you just think that's your everything. So when she broke up, I was like, right, so I'm moving away from London. Not only was I felt a bit heartbroken, but I was also a bit homebroken in the sense I'm not around anyone I know. And like I said, I never really left London. So I was used to growing up in South London, seeing beef on the streets. Now I'm seeing beef in the fields. Do you know what I mean? I used to seeing like rabbits on your plate. Now I'm seeing rabbits on my way to lectures. Like what is this kind of thing? So there's a big culture shock like that. But eventually, it was probably the best move that ever happened to me because everyone, let me not say everyone, but 90% of the people that I rolled with in London went to jail when I was at uni. One of my co-defendants from when we were 16, when we caught a case when we were like 16, he went to jail. You know, he's smashing it now in life. So if he listens to this, he knows he's killing it. He's killing it now. You know, you're passing to find your future. But it makes me think that if I stayed, and if everyone I rolled with, or 90% of the people I rolled with, ended up in jail, where would I have been? So whether you want to call it the universe or God's grace or however you want to label it, I got told to move. You know, I couldn't change the people around me, so I had to literally change the people around me, and that kind of helped.
So you said you could...
Don't let that go on any. Don't let that go over anyone's head. If you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. Pause.
Maybe
they need to pause
already.
it. You need to pause it on that. Still pause it. Rewind if you need to.
So you said you kind of reinvented yourself at uni. So how would you compare the person that went there to the person that left there?
Hit me with that again, because that was interesting still. Hit me with that question again.
Sure. So you said you reinvented yourself when you went to university. So what are the differences between the person that started MMU to the person that left MMU? You
know, I've done a lot of podcasts, a lot of interviews, and no one's ever hit me with it like that, you know. Like, that's a great way to put it. So how did I arrive until how I left? I think for me, it was just a case of doing what it is that I wanted to do without not necessarily fear, without caring what people around me thought, in a sense that when I was growing up in Southeast London, like you almost wanted to like fit the narrative, play your position. Do you know what I mean? Within the people you rolled with, you kind of just wanted to just play that position. And I wasn't necessarily a free spirit growing up in South, in the sense that I just rolled with the same guys every week. You know what I mean? It was just that. But when I went to uni now, I was in everyone's circle. You know what I mean? You might be having lunch, you get a knock on the door, hello, it's Kayode there. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't fit into any mold, and because of that, I was kind of in a lot of different circles, a lot of different pockets. So when it came to running in the election, I got votes from many different circles of people. So I think that's one of the main things, and just doing things with reckless abandon, not careless, but just not caring as such what people thought. Because no one knew me before 18. You didn't know what my life was like on road or before that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I was fresh. Do you know what I mean? I was like I just came out the womb. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know any better. Like, it was literally a fresh chance.
Nice. So were you always, such a confident person?
I want to say yes and I want to say no. The reason I say no, because let me give you this example. I remember I got my first job at 16. It was at Charlton Athletic Football Club at the stadium shops. I'm sure in Wolves you got the shop. In every football club you got the shop at the stadium. If that makes sense.
Or is it the club shop where you buy like shop. Shirts? Or,
yeah, where you buy shirts and you buy merchandise, and it's on match days. It's like on match days, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I say I thought I was confident the whole time. But let me give you this example. Like, I remember one time they said to me, like, I think it was my first time, they said, match day, the Charlton Stadium might have a 30,000 capacity, not huge, or whatever it is. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. So imagine that many people coming into a club shop at half time, or basically a large number of people at once. And I remember they said, oh yeah, put this shirt on one of the mannequins. And I was thinking, yeah, this is light work. My first role, put a shirt, put an arm, put a head. Do you know what I mean? And I saw all the people coming through the door. I was like, no, this is mannequin challenge right now. I just stood and froze like a mannequin. I did mannequin challenge way before mannequin challenge came out. I was like, no, I ain't doing this. They're like, haven't you got anyone on the shop floor? They're like, where's Kayode? I'm freezing, do you know what I mean? So with confidence, I think it's a situational thing, because I was confident at 16, but I think it's a case of in that situation it threw me still. But generally speaking, I have been confident.
Nice. So you've become, the director of the National Student Union, NUS, and also vice president of your uni. So what do you think having positions, of such power at a young age, what do you think that did for you, both professionally and personally?
I think it's been a bit of both. I think it's. The reason I say I think it's hit me in two ways. Firstly, it's given me unreal confidence in the sense that I've done certain roles, I've been in certain positions, I've been in boardrooms before the Apprentice. You know what I mean? So it's given me a bit of confidence in that sense. But at the same time, I think it maybe hasn't done too well for me in the sense that I find it hard to, in life you always want to be progressing going forwards. You know what I mean? You always want to be kind of doing better, doing better. But when you feel like you've kind of hit a peak so young, it's like, right, I don't want to go. But I've just been a director here. I've just been doing this. I just want to do that. I don't want to go backwards. So in a way, maybe it's giving me that confidence. But now it's maybe at the same time, it's like, right, I don't want to settle for anything less. That's why as soon as I finished my terms in office, I was like, right, I need to have my own business now. I can't just go and do X, Y, or Z at X, Y, Z company or whatever. So yeah, that's one of the things why I got into business. I was like, right, you can't keep your status as director. It's your term. It's a 2-year term or whatever. But I was like, right, I like it. I like the, go somewhere. Oh, expenses. You handling your expenses, not on you. You know what I mean? Like, you get used to it. Even coming off your apprentice, you get used to it. You know what I mean? You get runners bringing you food and that. I want my runner bringing me food during this interview. You know what I mean? But so I guess that's one of the reasons why I decided to go into business. I guess I wanted to continue that way.
So what's the next step once you've finished your terms in office?
So yeah, once I finished my terms in office, straight business. So 2014 started. No, sorry, 20. I kind of started alongside, if that makes sense, essentially. Like, setting the foundation, essentially. But when I finished my term in office, 2015, it was full steam ahead. Do you know what I mean? Because I finished in 2014 at vice president. And from then, it's like, I didn't have a backup plan. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's either this or not. Because the other role as director, that's a voluntary position. So I wasn't paid doing that role. Expenses and all of that, great, but I wasn't paid doing that. So when I finished in 2014 as vice president of the students' union at MMU, it's like, right, this business has to work. Some people say that, I used to follow the belief that when you start a business, burn the boats. If you want to go, Tony Robbins says it best. If you want to go and take the island, bring your army and burn the boats. There's no way going back. You're going to have to storm this island or die, do or die. Now I kind of have a bit more relaxed view on that viewpoint. But at the time, that's the viewpoint I had. Is like, right, I'm going to have to smash this. I was doing events business at the time. I'm going to have to smash this, do or die, because I literally had no backup plan. I knew that I had a choice to rerun in 2014 to be vice president again for another year, but I chose not to. So in that March to July, I had like 3 months left. Every week that goes past is like, right, once July comes, I'm done. I'm in April now. Once July comes, I'm done. I'm in June. Once July comes, I'm done. May. I'm in May now. I'm in May. Once July. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? So it's like, so it's like do or die. I had to make it happen. And I think I said the months the wrong way. I know it's April, May, June. I said April, June, May. But anyway, that's okay.
All right. So talk to me about pursuing speaking after you finished your terms in office and how the speaking career developed.
I think again, it's just been very organic. It's been very organic in the sense that one of the first major speaking I did was as vice president at the graduation that year. That was
I saw that speech.
You saw that?
Yeah. You were given like kind of a script to go by. You were kind of just like.
You know the backstory to it. How did you find that out?
I just did my searching, man. I used on YouTube, and then I just had a bit of a bit more research.
Basically they gave me the script, and I was like, man, I ain't reading this script. Like, they gave me, I can't. You know what it is? I'm not very good at reading aloud. Like I'm not very good at reading from a text. Do you get what I mean? So when they gave me the script, I was like, I think they might even email me the script before. I'm like, I ain't reading this script. I'm just gonna go up there and do my thing. Do you know what I mean? So every word I'm saying, I'm looking over to the vice chancellor like, oh shit, I'm not sure. He's looking at me like, Kayode, this don't look like the script. Like this ain't the script you gave us. But then I got kicked out of the net. I was supposed to do 2 graduation speeches that day based on their script. But after I did the first one, they're like, no, sorry, we're not having you do the second one.
Oh, I swear.
I got kicked out. Then there's a massive backlash in the university because all the lecturers are like, what? So all these years, the person doing the graduation speech has been given the speech. It's not their actual words. So I kind of opened a can of worms by mistake because everyone thought the person doing the speech, that was their speech until I just did my own thing, then get kicked out. So
did I. Like I'm shocked that I was shocked that you even got given a speech. And I was just thought, surely, like as the director, as the vice president, like it would be your words. I didn't imagine someone would be telling you what to say in that instance.
So now every graduation at MMU since then, they got to thank me for now that they're allowed to do their own speech. Because from 2014 prior, it's always been a speech given to you, but from 2015 onwards, you're allowed to do your own thing. So I guess I kind of set the precedent there.
Bro, that's a sick legacy, man.
Mm.
Alright, so talk to me about how you became.
Oh yeah, that's what we're going. Yeah, so since then, so obviously that picked up of that didn't go viral or nothing like that, but it kind of demonstrated my speaking skills on a massive stage. What's that? 4,000, 5,000 people were in Bridgewater Hall in Manchester that day, and coupled with the fact that I'm doing a speech in front of that many people when I'm not supposed to, so that that again showed confidence to do that. So then, following that, my supervisor for my final year dissertation and my lecturer, R.I.P. Nick, great guy, R.I.P. He brought me back the next year because I did very well in my dissertation. I think I got like 90% or something crazy like that. I got published essentially. I got published. I was studying the effects of motivational videos on our self-beliefs, and I was studying. Everyone knows it now, but Eric Thomas. Like I was studying Eric Thomas literally for my degree. You know what I mean, for my dissertation. So I got invited back to host a conference of the paper I got published, and then so that's you got all of the greatest, you got kind of like all of the greatest final year students presenting their research from around the country. It's called the British Conference of Undergraduate Research. They got all of the great from everywhere, from even including the Scotland universities all the way down to your Southampton. So the great dissertations that year all come together for a conference, and I kind of did the keynote for that. So bear in mind, I'm speaking in front of universities from all around the country, so I'm kind of marketing myself in that. I was just excited to speak. Like the fee what I got given then, I look back and I laugh. I got gassed on the fee I got paid to do that. Now I look back, I wouldn't even get out of bed for that now. But I was kind of speaking in front of all of these different universities, and then from that, some of them got in contact with me. Do you kind of get what I mean? So it just naturally kind of snowballed like that. And then I got onto the BBC in 2015. Again, I'm just gassed to be on the BBC just speaking. But then from that, the phone started ringing, metaphorically, if you want to call it that. So it's just kind of like a natural progression. And then even think people from the BBC would say, can you come here, can you come there? So it came natural like that. Then I eventually made my way to the Professional Speaking Association. I got the second. I'm now. They got like an entry level, and I'm a professional level and a fellowship level. So I'm on the second level of that, and also a member of the Global Speaking Federation, that's the GSF. So it's kind of just been a natural progression, really. I kind of always kind of struggled to answer this question. It's like me asking you, how do you learn to walk? You just kind of did it. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
Sick. So talk to me about how you were kind of listed as one of the top 10 most powerful young entrepreneurs.
Yes, so that was I remember that. I was in the house I was in at the time. This is in like 2017, so years ago now. I remember watching, I think it was the Euros. It might have been 2016. I distinctly remember the Euros were on. Like, I don't know what Euro, I can't remember what country the Euros were playing. I can't tell you who was playing. I remember watching the Euros, and when you're watching football, right, and you just have your phone on Twitter. Good thing I said Twitter to your quickfire question, actually. Yes, I was on Twitter at the time. Not Instagram, I was on Twitter. And it's like you get a, what do you call it, a mention or a notification come through. Goes, congratulations, Kayode, you are now listed top 9 of the top 100 most powerful young entrepreneurs in the world. I was like, huh? Where's this come from? I'm tweeting about Ronaldo or whoever's playing football. And I screenshotted it and I shared it to my, not followers at the time, but I shared it to the people I had on Facebook and Instagram and the following, I guess, I had at the time. I said, yo, what is this? Is this legit? Everyone's like, yo, congratulations, da 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 da. And then, and that's how I got put onto it. That's how I found out. And the reason I was on it, so because of my speaking business and my events business, at the time I had a letting service. So I came in at number 9. I was in the top 100 of the top, or the most powerful young entrepreneurs in the world, and I came in at number 9. And I stayed in there until, that's up until 25, and then I stayed in there the whole time. And there's been some great entrepreneurs on there, like Stephen Bartlett's one of them. I think he was number 1 for the majority of the years. I'm sure a lot of people know who Stephen is, and So who published that list? So it's the company that did that called Richtopia.
Okay.
So they also have one. It's like the Forbes. It's like a BTEC Forbes, if you want to call it that. You know what I mean? So it's not as great as Forbes, but no disrespect to Richtopia. But they also got they got their equivalent of the top 100 most influential British entrepreneurs. Not with the age cap. So you got people like Branson on there. You might have even got Sugar on there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So what did that do for you? Like seeing yourself on that list?
The reason why it kind of gas you, because every week you move. Do you know what I mean? Every week your position changes depending on, I don't know how they measured it, specifically, but every week you might get a notification. You moved up to, what did I peak? I might have peaked at number 6 or 5, what my peak, but the lowest I dropped was maybe like 19 or 20. I was like, nah, man, like it made me motivate. Like, nah, events, like the next events need to bang. You know what I mean? But the majority, I think, I stayed within the top 10 mostly. I think my lowest was maybe 19. I was in the top 20 majority of it. You know what I mean? But it just gives you that, again, that belief. And of course, when you're marketing yourself as a speaker, to be able to say that you're the top 10 or whatever, it just it carries you a bit more weight. Along with the fact that was a director here, vice president there, just adds to your speaking CV, if you want to call it that.
I guess it's sick as well because it shows that you're being noticed as well, because you're just going about your business, but then you're getting this recognition. I'm sure you don't even imagine that people are watching you like that.
Yeah, that's it. It's surprise. It can be a surprise. You know what I mean? It can be a surprise. But it's a blessing, definitely.
Alright, so I want to get on to The Apprentice, but I know that wasn't your first TV appearance. There's a certain show that aired on the 7th of January 2017.
You're a funny guy, Liam, man. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So talk to me about that.
Yeah, so again, that was in 2016, so it must have been July 2016. Again, through Twitter, I'm there chilling. I wasn't watching the Euros this time. I don't know what I was watching. I might have been watching SpongeBob, but it definitely was not football related. And I got another tweet come through. Hi Kayode, we're filming Come Down With Me in your local area. We would love for you to come on. And I'm thinking, is this legit? I think there's a theme here, do you know what I mean? Keep your Twitter DMs open. So that, again, the same routine. I screenshotted it, pull it out to my people on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm like, yo guys, is this legit? Like, do you know what I mean? Is this legit? Yo, Kayode, you gotta do it. I was like, man, and I'm a man of the people, do you know what I mean? The people want me to do something. I'm a man of the people. Come on, I'm a man of the people. So I was like, right, I'm gonna have to now go and Come Down With Me. But now here's the caveat, here's the twist. I'm due to fly to Turkey in a few weeks. You know, I was due to fly to a wedding. Ironically, they're not even married anymore. But yeah, I'm due to fly into a wedding in a couple of weeks. And I'm there in Turkey. Yeah, I'm doing these. I think Zoom wasn't even really popping back then. But I'm doing Skype with the Channel 4 people. I'm like, yo, I'm in Istanbul right now. Do you guys really want me to come out and film Come Down With Me? They're like, yeah, man, I want you to come. I'm like, all right. I'm like, all right, then cool. At the time that I was in one of the houses that I had a letting service. I'm in one of the I wasn't there that summer because I was in Turkey, but I had one of the houses. I was staying in one of the houses that I managed, and we had no kitchen. There's nothing. I'm trying to say to these directors, look, I'm happy to do it, but you got to bear in mind, I have no kitchen. Do you know what I mean? I have no kitchen. So things what people don't realize about me and Come Down With Me. I had no kitchen. I had no chairs, no plates, no nothing, and I'm in Turkey. And you know what? You know how TV is so nuts. Yeah, the directors are trying to make me have my cooking meal on the day I get back. But I'm trying to say to them, like, look, I can't do it. I've got no kitchen. You have to make me. You know how Come Down With Me works, right? I have to be the last meal, or at least one of the last meals, because it ain't happening. So I got back to the UK. I flew back into London, got in my car. I'm having to drive back up to Cheshire now, thinking, yo, please say the kitchen's done. Please say, like. I'm hoping. These time we started filming the first night, second night, my kitchen's still being done. I'm thinking, man. So thankfully the landlord who I work with doing the properties, like he worked very hastily with me to get it done, you know, so get the cooker in, get it all ready. Do you know what I mean? So then I had my day. I think I was day 3 of the 4, and then just cooked, made it happen, or at least tried to.
So did you fancy yourself as a bit of a chef before going on that show?
Yes and no. Yes, because I make it happen in the kitchen, just being naturally from the Caribbean. I guess you just make it happen. It's just, you know, when we sprinkle seasoning, we don't have to measure out 1 teaspoon. No, you just keep sprinkling.
Nah, none of that. Just
you keep going until you wait till the ancestors tell you to stop. Do you get what I mean? You just wait for the spirit of Yara Santua or someone to tell you to stop what you're doing. Do you get what I mean? So it's like we just naturally just have the knack. So yeah, but of course I didn't do that well. I didn't do that well on the show itself, man. I came last. But people don't know the backstory. Like I remember, I had no food. I had no plates. I had to get my neighbours to run around. I'm like, look, we need to source a table in the next by tomorrow. I need to get plates. So yeah, man, I wasn't as prepared. But then that's how they do it on TV. They like to catch you on your toes still.
What did you cook?
What did I cook now? Why am I hesitating? So, fam, I can't even remember. So the starter had something like prawns, and the reason I'm even more hesitating, I don't even eat meat anymore, but I'm sure they were meat based. So I cooked prawns, garlic prawns in like a butter sauce for starter with bread. Then for the main, I was eating chicken. No, I wasn't even. See, I wasn't even eating chicken at the time. I still made them chicken. You know. See, all of this you don't get marked for that. So I made them like a chicken with potatoes and carrots. Obviously, they got onto me for my carrots.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And then
what was wrong with them?
They said they were a bit too hard, man. They said they were a bit too hard. Personally, I don't like mine too soft, but at the same time, I'm just trying to do my thing, man. And cooking's different on camera, I'm telling you, man, because I had to do a cooking thing quite recently. In fact, last week, actually. Yeah, literally last week at the time of recording this. And again, lights, camera, cooking it's just much different to cooking alone in silence to cooking and having to talk through what you're doing. It's a different kettle of fish, pun intended.
Now I can imagine, bro. Like when I'm in the kitchen, I kind of just want to be myself, be by myself, just do my thing. Yeah. Like I don't want cameras in there and saying, "Oh, yeah, this is what I'm doing." Like, nah, you just want to do it, man. So it must be a completely different thing.
Yeah, and when you're cooking for the show, you're not cooking it. There's processes the way they got to do it for the way they film it, and you don't cook in the same way. Essentially, man, it's a lot different.
Okay, so on to your next TV appearance, so The Apprentice. So when I saw you, when I saw the little your little intro, and you was like, and I'm a fun guy, but I'm not a mushroom, and that sort of thing. I was like, I was watching your thing, and I was like, I want this guy to win, man. I took to you immediately, man. But so talk to me about what it was like applying and getting onto the show. I mean, what you can say about the whole process, anyway.
Yeah, so the reason I applied, again, going back to events business, I started in 2014, and one of my best months for running the events used to be September for Freshers Week, as you can imagine, January when people get back, and April used to be banging for some reason. Well, it stopped being as banging over the years. But yeah, so like my first January 2015, I was in Australia, I was in Sydney, Australia, having events going in the UK, and they were popping. That's the extent how popping the events were. I used to be not in the country, I was in Sydney with the girlfriend I had at the time, and events in the UK would be popping. So every January used to be great events, but then over the years, 2015, 2016, 2017, there used to be a downhill. And over time I was like, right, this can't run anymore. So the final straw was January 2018. Poor set of events. I remember getting back, obviously the nightclub events, it's nightlife. I remember driving back, getting to my house, thinking, man, I need a change, man, because there's a trend here. Like, if January's our best month and our January's are, not being as good, something needs to change. And I remember being on Twitter, there's a theme here, man, there's a theme. Being on Twitter, I didn't get a DM this time, or I didn't get a mention this time, but I saw apply for The Apprentice. I thought to myself, why not? I need a change in it, so why not? So January 2018, I remember it was like the deadline. I was thinking the closing deadline was like midnight. I must have applied at 11:52. Do you know what I mean? I probably had 8 minutes to spare. Like if my broadband cut out, it would have been peak. Do you know what I mean? So I had 8 minutes. And I thought to myself, let me not leave that to 11:59 just in case. 11:52, I can still run to my neighbours. You know what I mean? Worst case scenario. So I thought, let me apply 11:52, not 11:59. Give me that extra 8 minutes. And yes, that's why I applied for the show. And then. Yeah, that's how I applied, and then you go through the process and then go on.
Okay, so what was it like then? Were there any surprises? Like, is there anything that you can say that maybe that we wouldn't know about? That would be interesting.
So I mean, it wasn't any. As you said, this wasn't my first rodeo. Like I've done TV before. I remember when we first got there, right? Of course, you don't see the other candidates. I didn't see I was one of 16. I didn't see them until, into that first boardroom, that scene, that literally what you seen. So I didn't know it. I didn't see them that first time I met them in the waiting bit, the reception bit. And then I remember in the cars or back in the house, at some point, people are like, wow, man, I wonder how my voice is gonna sound, or what's it like being on TV there. I'm like, yo, I'm like. It just made me realise that I am not. It didn't make me think that I'm gonna necessarily win. I just made me realise that I'm not. I've done this. I've been there, done that. Do you know what I mean? I've been there and done that. So it surprised a lot of people. That surprised them. Like there's TV aspects and stuff like that. Because I've done, the Come Down With Me or the BBC interview here or there. That kind of gave me a nice little stepping stone, or kind of like a warm up, if you want to call it that, for being on the biggest BBC One program, the flagship program of BBC One. So I never really had any surprises in a sense like that.
Okay. And overall, how did you find the experience?
Overall, it wasn't. I preferred the beginning weeks. Put it that way. I preferred, I came out week 7, so like week 1 great, week 2 great, week 3 great, and week 4 onwards or whatever week onwards, it kind of got less and less great for me in a sense that it got more and more intense. As you can see, I'm not a mushroom, but I'm a fun guy. Do you get what I mean? I'm a happy-go-lucky. But then when the competition really got intense, when the oven got turned up, if you can't take the heat out of the kitchen, kind of thing, it's like, oh man, I'm not having as much fun anymore. Because obviously the stakes are now rising. I remember when the first couple of people started going home, you start seeing the empty bed. It's like, oh shit, then this is real. Do you get what I mean? And then it got more. Not bitchiness or competitive, it just got a lot more tense between people generally, do you get what I mean? So I did enjoy it more so towards the beginning, and as the weeks got on, it got a bit more cutthroat, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. When it is like that, can people kind of differentiate like the home life and the work life? Because obviously everyone wants to win the show, so it's like, you might be saying, like, you might get called into the final boardroom and you're saying this and that about the other people, but more time, it's not personal. It's just, you want to win this, but maybe people, once you go back to the house, is it a bit like, nah, you said all this and that about me, so we ain't cool? Or is it a lot just like, you know what, nah, I understand, bro. That's business. That's done now. We're in the house. It's cool now.
See, I wish I took more of the latter part of what you said in the fact that it's business, it's cool now, But for me, I think I was more the approach of, raw, you did that? Like, I think my road like we don't let things die, do you know what I mean? It's like, raw, you really, say no more. It's like, say no more, say no more. Like, I catch you in the shower, do you know what I mean? Like, I turn off the water on your showering, do you know what I mean? Like, it weren't that intense, but I think I wish I had more towards that side of it, whereas, one of the big things for me, I didn't want to win. Of course, I didn't, but I didn't want to win at the expense of anyone else. So I wanted to win because I was great. I wanted my house to be the biggest house, not because I told on everyone else's house. If that made sense.
Yeah.
So I feel that maybe I should have. Yeah, it's hard to switch off. Definitely, definitely hard to switch off. Especially you're in that apprentice bubble 24/7. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you have a beef at your work right now. I mean, of course, lockdown, but if you have beef at work, typically you leave the office, you're not seeing that person again until 9 a.m. Unless you really don't like them, you butt them at the house at 9 p.m. You know what I mean? So it is different in that sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, like, when I see you on the show, it's like, you're a sick guy and that, but you don't have that sort of, that sort of cutthroat sort of. It doesn't strike me as you. Like, you ain't the typical person that goes on that show. Like, but yeah, I don't know. So maybe that's I don't know. That's.
Yeah, so I mean, when I got fired, like, you get fired. I got fired in week 7. They send you to the hotel. Like, for the first time, you're on your own in that hotel room. You got no phone. Remember, bear in mind, we don't have any tech. Do you know what I mean? We're naked technology-wise, if you want to call it that. So I remember when I got fired, I'm sitting in a hotel room in Shepherd's Bush thinking, yo, did I get fired because I'm too much of a nice guy? That rang bells in my head, like, I'm having not sleepless nights, but I'm thinking, yo, I'm too much of I need to be more like, not to say Khadija and them are bad, I need to be more like Jackie, I need to be more like Khadija, because they're sick businesswomen and they don't put up with nothing. They're just like, they mean something. Yo, I'm too smiley, man. I need to start smiling more. You start to question. It's like when you have a breakup, if your girlfriend leaves you, thinking, man, I should have been like this. Why did she leave? It's a similar. You do have a similar grieving period like that. Like, I thought, am I too nice? But then I remember when I got brought back for the final for week 12, and bear in mind, I'm out the process for 8, 9, 10, 11, so I'm having no idea what's happening. But then I remember when we bust the corner to see the 2 finalists, and I saw Camilla and Sean standing there. And then as soon as I saw them standing there, the penny dropped. Like, you can be a nice person in business. Because when I saw them 2 standing there, I didn't expect it, because they were 2 of the nicest people in my series during the show. So then I thought, when I was saying to that, I thought to myself, I'm too nice. So when I saw them standing there, and I saw Khadija and Jackie, or the people who are more don't put up with it, when I saw them fired like me, I was like, right, that was a massive epiphany for me right there, that you can be nice in business and win.
Was it a pleasant feeling thinking, okay, I don't, the way I am is cool, I can be successful without changing my personality? Was that a relief?
Yeah, it was a relief. It was a relief. I mean, of course, it's not the real world. In real life, you do have to be a bit more. Because even with me doing my events business, if I'm negotiating a deal for one of my coaches, I've got to really put my foot down and say, I ain't paying this no more, take it or leave it. You do have to have a bit of that. But it was a relief. It was a relief. And then the following year after, it was Karina and Scarlett in the final again. Two lovely. I've never met them, but I've spoken to Scarlett before. I think I've spoken with Karina here and there, not in person, but they're two of the nicest people as well. So again, it is a bit of a relief that you don't have to be this dragon, in business. You can just be a good person. Not to say that anyone else is not a good person. Some people are a bit more, like I say, they just don't put up with S word. You get what I mean?
So what's it like doing the tasks and that? Is it enjoyable or is it tense? I mean, you got Karen and Claude watching as well. Talk me through that.
I think it depends on the type of task. Like for me, my favorite type of tasks are the ones which are public facing, whether it's selling, whether it's pitching, whether it's public speaking, whether it's stuff like that. So I think depending on the task, depending on what I thought about it. So it's nothing to do with the task itself. It's more about what the task is, whether I like it generally. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have a good variety of tasks. You have a good variety. Towards the beginning, of course, it's a lot more harder because there's more people trying to get their words in, a bit more da-da-da-da. And then towards the end, it's like a U-shape. At the beginning, it's kind of hard. I don't know if people can see me or not, but anyway, U-shape. Imagine the top half of the U, the top bit of the U, intense because there's a lot of people trying to get their voice in. Then it kind of dips when people start to go. But then ironically, when there's even more people go, it gets even harder because there's few of you. It's harder to get your voice in. There's only a few people in. Do you get what I mean? So that aspect of it can be quite hard as well, irrelevant of what the task is.
Yeah, because you know what, it's a bit of I'm curious because when it's the early stages, like week 1, 2, 3, like there are a lot of people there, so I guess the odds are in your favor maybe of you not going home. So I guess there's maybe a balance of wanting to do really well and shine, but also not putting yourself in the way of the firing line. Is that the case or?
See, run that by me again. I like the way you put that. Run that by me again.
Yeah, so at the start, when there's like the 16 of you, 15, 14, like the odds of you going home, it's like it's in your favor because only one of you is going to go. And, you could, what I'm saying? So there's probably less chance of you going home. But at the same time, you kind of want to be able to put your name forward and kind of make a name for yourself. But when it gets later on in the show, when there's less of you, there's more of a chance of maybe a double firing. So you kind of, maybe it's more important that you don't get things wrong. So how do you kind of deal with that balance? Because I guess at the start you don't want to do anything wrong. But then at the end, you kind of also don't want to do anything wrong, but you've got to, in between that, you've got to be doing something to kind of stand out and make yourself look good. And
See, at the beginning, for me, I was just gassed to be there. As soon as the first boardroom came, what was my bar? I said, has someone put fleas in their seat because I'm itching to go? Yeah, I'm just ready to body everything. I'm here to body this. Like I'm just looking to crack ankles, as my dad used to say. When I used to play football, my dad used to shout on the sideline, "Crack ankles!" I'm like, yo, crack ankles. He seems like a good youth. I think he's a good youth. No, crack ankles. So I've gone into boardroom thinking I'm about to body someone here. I don't know who it's gonna be, but then I remember I didn't want anyone to get fired either. I felt too nice. I felt harsh, and I'm like, oh no, they gotta go home. Like he's just got, I'm like, Lord, he just got here kind of thing. So I did feel a bit tight. So that's why it was torn between me. Cause on one side I'm looking to body this. At the same time, he seemed like a good youth. I don't want him to go. Then I felt bad when someone got fired on my side. I'm like, oh man. So for me, it's hard in that sense to try and have that kind of resistance within me.
Yeah. And what were the guys like to work with in terms of Nick? Karen, Claude, Lord Sugar.
Well, you definitely been watching the show for years. If you mentioned Nick Hewer, you've been a fan of the show for years. But Nick, I ain't even mentioned Nick. Yeah, so obviously Nick used to be one of Nick used to do Nick and Margaret way before Karen and Claude.
Yeah.
So they're cool, man. I used to prefer Claude following me around. Karen used to be scary for me. I don't know why, man. Karen just I don't know, man. Karen, I'll try and crack a little joke here or there, see if Karen smiles, but she ain't smiling. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, maybe she didn't find me funny, kind of thing. So obviously, she's just stern. Do you know what I mean? Serious.
Yeah.
Karen's serious. So it's hard to try. I like to try and warm up to them. Karen wasn't letting me, but then, of course, when it all finished, she was a warm, lovely person. But they were cool, man. I used to definitely prefer Claude following me. Definitely.
I could imagine Claude being a bit worse to have you following around.
Nah, I don't know, man. It's just.
Claude's serious, man. Like,
no,
I remember before.
Still, I didn't mind Claude. Claude could follow me still. Claude he had my back, but I remember sending the donuts. Claude was feeling me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was gonna mention that. Claude was
like Karen. I was even got up and did a little waist. I did a little whine. Do you know what I mean? We're designing the shoes, and Karen was laughing at me whining. And so I was like, "Oh man, Karen, is it my waist? Like, am I not pelting my hip enough?" You know what I mean? Like, so, yeah.
What was it like working with Lord Sugar? What's he like?
Well, I've never worked with him. I've never really...
Yeah, I guess working with him, yeah. But like, in terms of on the show,
I like him. He's cool, man. I definitely felt a sense of warmth from him. Whenever I spoke, like I definitely felt a connection with him. And even when he had to tell me off, quote unquote, when your mum and dad tell you off, they don't really want to do it, but they have to because I felt that from him. So even when he was criticising me, I felt like, Kayode, I don't want to... It's like, and he says, Kayode, I don't want to have to say this, but you shouldn't have done this. But I felt like he didn't want to. I definitely felt a connection from him. But in saying that, I've never spoke to him since. You know what I mean? Never spoke to him since.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Claude. Like, I remember he was picking you up, man, especially in that donut task.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yes, he's kind of. I think it speaks a lot about you that Claude rated you so highly because he appears to rate no one, man. Like he was savage. I remember before he was on the show regularly as one of Lord Sugar's aides. Like the interview, and everyone knew about Claude. Everyone was. There's that clip from I think a year or two beforehand where he just shoots down that brother where he shoots down his business plan. So for him to kind of rate you so highly, that speaks a lot about you, man. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, Claude was a serious interviewer before he was the aide. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man.
But in saying that, I just thought of it now. I never saw him once as that interviewer. Actually, I just thought about it. I've never once saw him as Claude, the serious interviewer. I just saw him as this bald-headed 70-year-old. You know what I mean? I didn't really see him as a serious interview. I just thought, right, this is Claude, like, see Lord. You know what I mean? I just say, I'm just trying to see Lord. Like,
now, you know what? You do get to see a little bit of a different side to him when he's working as an aide. Like, he doesn't have to be a savage.
But
although he can be.
Even going to support him, seeing Lord Sugar, I didn't see him as Lord Sugar. But I used to get told off for calling him Alan. I used to be like, yo, Alan. Like,
you called him Alan?
I used to call him Alan all the time. Karen used to be like, his name is Lord Sugar. I'm like, oh, yeah, sorry, Alan. Do you know what I mean? So I just see him as him.
Yeah.
I see people as the people. Do you know what I mean? I just see them as the people rather than them.
Yeah, best thing, man. So, who was your favourite co-contestant?
Oh, my favourite co-contestant. See, if I mention his name, because he got fired quite early, you see, but I really got on roll with Rick, man. Like, I just like Rick, man. Rick was funny. Like, Rick gave me these bars. Like, Rick used to say to me, like, oh, you got it. And I don't want to do his accent. He lives in Chorley, so even near Blackburn, so he's got one of them Lancashire accents. I'm not even going to try and mock it, but it's more funny when he says in his accent. So if you don't laugh saying when I say this, it's because it's not in his accent. So I'm putting out my white flag from now. But he used to be like to me, oh, if you don't live life on the edge, you're taking up too much room. I mean, all little things like that. It used to be funny and like, and he used to be like, and then we used to be doing laundry in the house. Obviously, you've got to do laundry. And I remember one of the first time Rick did laundry. He goes, "Rah, I've got to do my laundry now. Usually, I have this magic box in my room where I put my dirty clothes in, and 3 days later, they've come back folded in my wardrobe." You know what I mean? So just little things like that. So Rick, man, obviously, I know not many people remember it because he got out kind of early, but obviously, I spent more time with him. But yeah, Rick, man. And then yeah, definitely. Or if not, then Sabrina, man. I definitely love Sabrina on the show.
Bruv, you know who was so funny? Curran was something else, man.
So he came out a week or two before me, but yeah.
Oh, he was like, I remember when I was doing my research for this, I got down a bit of a rabbit hole, and there was like his best moments. Right? What a character! Man.
Yeah.
But obviously it didn't end up how you wanted it to. You didn't win. But you became a bit of a cult hero on that show. I think everyone liked you. Like, I remember I was reading something and an article from when the show was on, and it was like a review. And it was like, Kayode, who's by far the most normal person in there. So I think a lot of people related to you, man. Did you think that would be the case?
At the time, I mean, not at the time. I just being me. I wasn't trying to be anyone. I wasn't trying to play a role. I just literally just being myself. So maybe I can see why, because maybe I don't. It's weird. I'm a professional speaker, but I'm not the best spoken. Maybe in a sense that I stumble my words, etc. So maybe it's because I'm just literally just normal, quote unquote, whatever that means, what they say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. Because one thing that stood out about me is like like, you know, in the taxi on the way back, everyone's like, yeah, Lord Sugar's made a big decision here. He's made a big mistake here. Like, he's gonna regret this. So I'm gonna be, you know, the next big thing. That's like all the time. That's what people say. And then you was like, yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to going home and seeing my cat. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's my guy, man. Like, that
was the truth, though. I was like, yo, this one is. You know what I mean? I just saying how it isn't. Not the typical Lord Sugar's gonna regret this, because he probably won't regret it. You know what I mean? He probably won't.
Bro, that's what I say all the time. I'm thinking every time they say that, I'm watching it and I'm like, bro, even if you go and smash it, yeah, like, you're probably not going to be as rich as Lord Sugar. Like, he's not going to be thinking, oh, you know what, that one, nah, bro, Lord Sugar's set for life, bro. He ain't regretting anything. So yeah, man, when you said that, I was like, yeah, man, this is just a genuine guy. I think that was the only time I watched You're Fired, that series.
You know, I never really banged out the show watching it too tough before mine, so I didn't know what to say. I didn't know these are the typical things people say. You know what I mean? So I just said, I just look forward to see my cat. I think I said that, man. That's hilarious, man.
And so, can you talk to me about how the experience benefited you?
I think the main benefit is the publicity that I've had since. So, of course, like you didn't know who I was before December of 2018 or whenever it came out in 2018. So I guess that has helped mainly, because especially the things that I've done. The things that I do, it's been public facing, especially the speaking aspect. So it's kind of put me out there a bit more. So I think that's the main thing. I guess in an ego way, in a sense that you get invited to a lot more of these celebrity quote unquote parties, and you know, meeting these celebrities quote unquote. That's nice. But I think the main thing for me is just what it's done for me, giving me that platform.
So what have you been doing since being on the show?
So since the show, so when it stopped you know what it is, I still feel like, other than lockdown, I still felt like I was on the show all the way up until 2020, you know, even when the other guys one came on, like the year after, man, because I still been getting told, like, Kayode, like, took on too soon, I still getting at it kind of thing. But as soon as the show done, it's essentially my professional speaking, so my bookings went through the roof. I'd done more bookings in that 1 year afterwards than I had done in my whole life. So bookings went through the roof, and, you know, doing quote unquote doing influencer stuff, do you get what I mean? You know, working with different brands and stuff like that. That's what it's been primarily, and that's literally run up until lockdown. I still get things like, oh, from the show, do this, do that. Do you know what I mean? So it's been mostly my speaking and doing stuff with brands and stuff. And then during lockdowns, because of lockdown, I doubled down more on my cryptocurrency and my investing.
Okay, yeah. So I do actually want to speak to you about that. So I know you've taken, you've taken an interest in it. I listened to your podcast on it recently as well.
Well, I did a podcast on it, did I?
Yeah, it was like a 20-minute episode just talking about why you should get into crypto.
Oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that now. Still, yeah.
Yeah. So can you talk about how you got into that?
So I got into it So it's in 2017 when I first got involved. You know, I doubled down in it because of lockdown, because we ain't going anywhere. So I doubled down in it since then. But I've been investing and trading since 2017. And I got into it because I remember it was in the summertime, and it was in the gym, right? It was in the summer of 2017. No Twitter involved this time. It's cool, no Twitter this time. And this guy used to come to the gym. Yo, Kayode, you need to check out this cryptocurrency thing. I'm thinking, man, I'm just trying to bench press. Like, yo, I'm just trying to do my set. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to do my set. Like, no, man, you need to be doing this crypto thing. Every day I'm going to the gym. The next day, crypto. The next week, okay, we looked into crypto. Like, nah, man, I'm just trying to kill my chest on the bench. He's just killing my head with all of this knowledge. Do you know what I mean? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna look into it. You know, I'll look into it. Thinking, yo, this is nuts. I can't understand this. This is mad. Do you know what I mean? Next day, crypto. So the whole of the summer 2017. getting onto me about crypto, onto me crypto. And then the 2017 bull run is when I actually just got involved. I thought, you know what? I don't know how it works, but I'm just gonna put money in and then see how it goes. And then so ever since then, that guy in the gym would just stuck it on me every time. I'm trying to get him to spot me. Do you know what I mean? At least spotting me, putting the bar down, crypto, bang, crypto. You know what I mean? So because of him, I'm so grateful to him now, though, because it's definitely not changed my life, but it's definitely changed my. It's just on a madness. You know what I mean? So he got me onto it still. So shouts out to him. I wish I started way before, earlier in 2017, even before that. And then so obviously during 2020, so even throughout, I remember when we got onto the show, like with the other candidates, like what do you do? I remember speaking to, I think it was Daniel or someone. We're in Heathrow, whatever airport we was coming back from Malta or whatever it was. And I remember telling him about crypto, telling me about, I think he got involved in crypto as well. Yeah, but in 2020, so yeah, well, I definitely just doubled down.
So what did you do when you decided that you wanted to get into it?
So firstly, what I did was, when he used to tell me about in the gym, I used to try and do, they say DYOR, do your own research. But I'm from the school of thought by, you learn best when you got money involved, man. When your money involved in something, you learn quick, I'm telling you, man. Like, when your money's not involved in something, like, you learn passive. But once you've invested, like, literally invested your time and money into this, you're like, yo, I need to learn how this thing works, you know. So, so when he first told me about it in the summer, I was trying to look into it myself, and when I just put my money in, I was like, right, I get it now, I understand how it moves, you know what I mean? I just get it, and I just did it from there, man. But then what I find is that it's such a massive space and one of the fastest growing asset classes in the history of the human race, that there's so much to learn all the time. Even now I'm learning new stuff, you know. NFTs weren't really out when I first invested in crypto in 2017. There's things moving all the time. DeFi, decentralized finance, that really picked up speed in 2020. That wasn't out really too tough when I first started. So there's always things to learn. So yeah, I'm enjoying it, man. I'm definitely enjoying the ride.
Sick. So what would you say to someone that's looking to get into it? What's important for them to consider?
Boy, where do we start? I feel like it's a whole episode in itself, man. Like, where do you start? Well, firstly, you might as well just take my course, man. I've got a nice newsletter I send out every Tuesdays. I shouldn't have said every Tuesday, because what if I only did it Wednesday now? I've kind of just stuck it in there. But every week, I've got a newsletter I send out every week. I've also got a course I've done, and I've also, so I help people out as well. So the first thing I think to do is, where do I even start, man? The first thing to do is to understand how much you can afford to lose. I think that's the main thing. I think one of the main things is you don't want to lose money. So even before getting into cryptocurrency, I think the first thing I would do is to sort out your own finances first. Yeah. Sort out your own finances first. Figure out how much do you need to live, whether it's rent, whether it's mortgage, whether you're living at home, whether it's how much you spend. Sort out your own personal finances first, and then look into cryptocurrency. That's what I would do. So I wouldn't necessarily even go to cryptocurrency first. I'll sort out my own personal finances first, and then realize where do you want to go, because cryptocurrency is a high risk asset class. So you might not be risk adverse for something so high risk. You might want to take more of a medium risk. So for me, I divide my investments into 3 ways: my low risk investments, my medium risk investments, and my high risk investments. So I have 3 different pots. So you might want to do your split, and how you want to split, you might want to do 50% in low risk, 25-25, or whatever you want to do. So figure out how much of your investment pot, and then how much you want to break it down into cryptocurrency. That's what I'll do. Just sort out your own finances first, and then figure out where you want to go into cryptocurrency. And then I'll go to, maybe depending on how new you are or how your experiences are, look at Coinbase, man. That's just definitely a good start. Coinbase, really just get your feet wet. Now I encourage people to look at a Coinbase platform just to get your feet wet.
Okay, cool. And so I know Bitcoin's like the most popular one, but do you think, could you say some of the ones that maybe, this isn't you saying go and invest in these, but what are some other currencies that people should be looking at, do you think?
So I think the reason Bitcoin throws a lot of people, they see the pace, or even before, they just see Bitcoin's roughly $50,000 at the time of this interview. It'd be very interesting to listen back to this in a year to see how it's moved. So I think one of the big mistakes people make is that they see Bitcoin at 50k, and they assume that 50k has got anything to do with them, where it's not. Because you're not necessarily buying, you don't necessarily have to buy a whole Bitcoin for 50k, or even when it was 10k, or even when it's 30k, 40k. You're not buying a whole Bitcoin, and people get excited because it's such a big number. And then you see the other smaller altcoins which maybe cost 30p or 20p or a pound, £2, 30 pound, £100. But you're attracted to Bitcoin at 50k, whereas you can invest in the smaller altcoins with a smaller market cap costing like 30p and make a lot more money with them than your big Bitcoin. If you're looking to double your money, I understand if you invest in Bitcoin today for 50k, for you to double your money, Bitcoin will need to go to 100k. Whereas for you to double your money on an altcoin will cost 30p, that just needs to go to 60p. So the bigger the market cap, so Bitcoin's it's the biggest market cap. That takes a lot. That's a lot harder. That is a lot harder for it to flip, to double. Whereas the smaller altcoins can double, triple, quadruple in a smaller space of time, but they might be more risky. So there's so many, man. I don't know where to start. There's so many different coins to look at other than Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's a good store. People are saying Bitcoin can be a good store of value as a digital gold. So using it as a store of value, because if you've got your money still in pounds, you're losing money due to inflation. Like a pound today costs less than a pound yesterday. So you can use Bitcoin as a store of value, but don't sleep on the altcoins, definitely.
Okay. Any particular altcoins that people may maybe be looking at?
Chainlink, Cardano. I'm just thinking about some in my portfolio now. My portfolio is mad. Do you get what I mean? But there's so Link, Litecoin, Ethereum. Ethereum, in fact, you might want to look into Ethereum a bit more because Ethereum's going for a change in a minute. It's going to Ethereum 2.0. But there's so many, man. There are so many, literally. Again, in my Tuesday newsletter that I send out, again, I said the day. I'm thinking about changing the day to Wednesday. But Tuesday newsletter, I give a beginning portfolio guide to that. So if you are interested, sign up to my Tuesday newsletter.
Okay, sweet. So, do you think the end of fiat currency is in sight?
Not in how far is the sight? I think you need a telescope to see it at the end of sight. It's definitely not. It's definitely not the end in sight to the naked eye. You definitely need like a microscope. You need like a telescope to see it, because it's definitely not anytime soon. Because as an asset class, cryptocurrency is still I think it's too volatile to be used for purchases. If the pound, dollar, everything went away today, I think Bitcoin's too volatile to be used as a currency as it stands right now, because you've seen the first Bitcoin transaction was to buy pizzas, and he spent like 10,000 Bitcoin on that, that's like worth billions today. So it's too volatile as an asset class to replace fiat currencies right now, in my opinion. I feel it still needs to mature. So it's only been around 10 plus years. So I don't think there's going to be the end of fiat currencies just of yet. But I do think that with the rise of cryptocurrencies, people are looking at the fiat currencies and questioning it like, you're seeing where the flaws are.
Yeah. All right, cool, bro. All right, so what we'll do now, we're gonna just head off into the trivia sections. So I've decided to go with your topic as Apprentice, but they're not necessarily. They're around the Apprentice, basically. Mm-hmm. All right, so 5 questions. We'll see how you get on.
Yep.
All right. So first question: who was the first contestant to leave Apprentice Series 14, which was yours?
Oh, Sarah Byrne, man. Sarah, man. Shouts out to Sarah.
Correct. Alright, that was an easy start for you. I'll give you that.
Sarah, man. You know what I mean? Like, I feel bad. I never even got to meet Sarah. I don't think I ever spoke to Sarah. Maybe I keep saying she doesn't live too far from me. I just need to get in my car and drive to her house. With permission, of course. With permission. But I never got to speak to her on the show. I never got to really speak to her.
Next question. Lord Sugar has a net worth of approximately how much? Is it A, 800 million, B, 1.4 billion, or C, 1.9 billion?
1.4 billion.
That is correct. Nice one. 1.4 billion. All right, next question. So, Karen Brady was just 23 years old when she became the managing director of which football club?
Birmingham.
A, West Ham.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
Birmingham City.
Yeah, sorry.
You're going to say Birmingham City?
Yeah, I was going to say Birmingham. Sorry. Was that one of the... Yeah, sorry. I jumped the gun.
It was one of the... Yeah, that was the answer. That you killed it, man.
Yeah, sorry,
Fair play.
I jumped the gun. Sorry. I didn't realise you gave me the multiple choice. Sorry.
Ray, if you know the answer before I read it, go for it.
Yeah, fair enough.
In what year was the first series of The Apprentice?
2005.
Is it? Jeez. Okay.
Well, you should have told me I could jump the gun. If you told me to jump the gun, I'll jump the whole cannon. Do you know what I mean? So.
All right, last question. So, out of these previous winners, Tom Pellereau, Ricky Martin, and Dr. Leah Totten, which business has the highest value?
Oh, see, I can't jump the gun on this one. Out of Leah, Tom, and Ricky. See, I don't think... See, I'm basing it on industry. I don't think it's Leah. No disrespect to Leah, even though she's aired my DMs. Ricky, he does recruitment. I don't think it'll be... It could be in recruitment, you know. It could be in recruitment because that's just such a massive industry. At the same time, Tom's done a madness with his inventions. I'm going to say Tom.
That was correct.
Yeah.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Jeez. Smashed it, and I think only one of the guests has got 5 out of 5 so far.
Okay.
So.
Tell them I want to fight him.
Yeah.
We'll have a one-on-one arm wrestle, you know what I mean? Or her.
No, it's him.
That's him.
Yeah, man. Yo, that was sick. All right, man. Before we wrap things up, do you have any last words you want to leave to the listeners?
I'm cool, man. I mean, last words for them. I thought you meant last word I want to ask you, but last word for them. I'll say, yeah, I understand this has been a difficult last year. You know, it's been difficult last year. Even the beginning of 2021 has been quite difficult for some people because we're still having the residual effects of 2020. But it's like we said at the beginning, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm encouraging people to keep going and keep going. You made it this far already. Don't give up now.
Nice. And yeah, you want to tell the people where they can find you?
Find me in my house. No joking, don't come to my door.
Lockdown.
Find me on my social media at Kayode Damali. I've kind of simplified them now. I've got my banner behind me, which you might be able to see, but I've kind of simplified it now. It's at Kayode Damali on all platforms.
All right, bless. And how can they subscribe to the newsletter?
So just go to my Instagram. The link's in bio. That'll be easier. Just Instagram, links in bio from my main Instagram.
Okay, bless. Kayode, honestly, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thanks again for joining me, and yeah, I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Ian. It's been fun for me too, man.
All right, good. I'm glad. All right, respect, bro.
Cool.
Safe.
You can find.
What are you listening to?
The Get to Know podcast.
You're listening to the Get to Know
Podcast.